Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Atheist Answers Questions Asked by Theists. And by theists, we usually mean Christians. But today's question is, how do you determine what is right and what is wrong? This question is usually a precursor to the moral argument for God. It's a little disingenuous, but I'll answer it as if it's not just a loaded question where the asker is looking for a gotcha moment. Imagine for a moment a world where killing someone is consistently wrong, lying is always wrong, parents always must be honored, stealing is universally wrong, and mind crimes are always considered wrong. Now, consider the complexity of these questions. Is this world morally just? Are these actions always morally wrong? These are challenging questions, and the answers aren't black and white. Rules are like recipes. If you follow them, you always get the same result. This is great if you always want white cake, but not so great if you want chocolate. Different occasions call for different cakes, and personal preferences also can influence what kind of cake you want. The Bible proposes rules, things that are always wrong no matter what. Is that a good way to live, black and white, with no shades of gray, no empathy or mercy? Is lying always wrong? Let's say you're hiding a political dissident fighting for a cause you believe in. The police are looking for him. They ask you if you know where they are. Is it a good idea to tell the police where the person is? What if you know they'll be killed? Let's say you're planning a surprise party for someone significant in your life. You know they love surprise parties and also trying to find out about them. I ask you point blank if you're planning a surprise party. Is it okay to lie to them to keep to the surprise? If you have a rule that you can never lie under any circumstances, you get someone killed and disappoint your friends. Are parents always worthy of being honored? Not all parents are good ones, some are terrible. What about a parent who won't respect boundaries and constantly attempts to micromanage their adult children's lives? And the only way for the child to live their own life is to go no contact and abandon their parents. What about parents who abuse their children or sell them? Should they be honored? Is stealing always wrong? If the only way to eat is to steal food, is that wrong? If the only way to recover something stolen from you is to steal, is that okay? In the 1920s and 30s, a series of laws in the U.S. aimed at leveling the playing field in business by breaking up trusts and preventing them. These laws were used to break up Standard Oil and AT&T, and the government did try to break up Microsoft and IBM. These laws were also used to break up tiny companies whose business practices fell afoul of those laws. Breaking up these companies resulted in removing assets from them and giving them to a new entity. Is this right? Is it theft if it's only done to large companies? What about tiny companies? What if the theft is legal? In the US, governments can take property from their citizens through a process called eminent domain. Some call it theft, but it's not because it's legal. Is legally taking something that doesn't belong to the government or doesn't belong to the taker? Is that right? Are mind crimes always wrong? Is it wrong to have impure thoughts or to covet? What exactly makes that bad? Just because you think it doesn't mean you'll do it. But to make this question even worse, we're less in control of our thoughts than we think. Scientists have used fMRI machines to observe people's brains as they choose between two colors and then visualize that color as hard as possible. The scientists could predict which pattern the participants would choose and how vividly they would envision it up to 11 seconds before consciously making the decision. You'd think a God who made us would know that. We aren't as in control of our minds as we think. Only after we're conscious of thought can we control it. If you have a lustful thought, there's nothing you can do for up to 11 seconds. Mind crime should never be a thing. So how do I determine what's right or wrong? I don't use rules. I use guidelines. I start with empathy, understanding where the person is coming from and where they are going. Part of that is recognize that we're part of a society that doesn't always treat everyone equally despite our best efforts. Then I look at the harm an action might cause and the benefits it might have. It's pretty general and might sometimes lead to different results, which I'm okay with. Life isn't vanilla cake. Sometimes it's chocolate, or even German chocolate. Cookie cutter responses can create injustices, And zero tolerance policies are for lazy thinkers, not for adults. They usually hurt more than they harm. They usually hurt more than they help. A cookie cutter world is not a moral world.